next round on Locked On Texas Tech. And we're back into it. 3, 2, 1. Questions, answers. We got all of the above. Back to Mike's question, Chris, asking about updates or anything, as this kind of can always evolve, I guess, but updates on what Tech could be looking to add portal-wise whenever we get back to that next window coming up.
Yeah, I think you're still very interested in adding high-end talent, and looking to take advantage of rules before they change. I think you maybe have eyes on a receiver out of the Big Ten. I think you have your eyes on or some. These are all relationship based. These are all more than likely people that high end, like or there's a massive football reason, but also like we know this person, or we've got a lot of familiarity with who we would be bringing into this deal because it's so late. But I think receiver, edge, and I think they're and then the other one is, I'm probably less to say that you will for sure end up with something here, but I'm going to give you the reason why this may be on the table. Could one of these DBs that you brought in here morph into this position? Do you have enough depth here? I would not rule out. I do think you are looking for slot help. Okay, that need remains. I think you've got your eye on somebody. I think you are looking for edge help. And you're swinging for that fence, boy, and you may miss that ball, but if you connect, you're trying to hit it into the parking lot. And I think that you're willing to bring a lot to the table to try to secure the bag, if you will. The other one is safety. I'm a bit that's some gray area there. However, why? This is Chapman Lewis related. This is Chapman Lewis injury related. And I think, again, you're trying to mitigate risk. Now, as you get into spring, if you feel like we've got enough at corner and we can cross-train, which is probably going to happen anyway, and maybe we don't necessarily, because I think Chapman Lewis, I would set the over-under on how many games he were to play at say 6. And then even then, when he were to come back, how effective is that? It just took. I think it was a pretty nasty little injury there, which we feared. I don't have any details on it, but I think that would be, if you want to connect some dots on the safety, it would be Chapman Lewis related. But I think for sure, slot receiver with speed, okay, and then edge player. Like, can you make the quarterback's life uncomfortable? Then we'd like to talk to you. And do we know you? Do we have a relationship with you? We'd really like to talk to you then. Same with receiver and same with the safety. But I'm not. So I bet you end up with a couple of 3 additions here at the end. And again, these will be very specific, very high end, very like let's roll kind of type stuff here.
Interesting. Something to look forward to.
It sure is. It sure is. And I do think there's money left in said bag to, secure said players, if that's what it comes down to. If there's because I think you're trying to go get people that would be of interest to other programs as well. But I think you are, so well funded.
All right. I'm liking what you're telling me. I just kind of wanted to let you keep going on and on there. So that sounds good. We'll keep an eye out for that. Thank you for that question. This one from Frank. Given inevitable injuries, does Grant McCaslin need to expand to 10 actual contributors instead of 8? Does that mean another $1 million or so in the NIL budget? Also had Andrew chiming in asking about scholarship usage and whether or not you think that could be changing. Was there any regret about what we had? Was there 1 or 2, I guess, left available? And then just some bad luck as far as the spot occupied, I guess, by Devin Cambridge. But what do you think roster-wise as we move forward? Is there anything that this season might be teaching you that could lead to, I don't know, something different down the road?
Well, your one available spot, I think, went to Mariella Kuntak. So if not available, you may not be able to add him. and so keep that in mind as well. I think Grant, certain coaches go about this very different, and then it's case by case. It's like, okay, what all can we get? How does this work? What kind of vibe do we have with our team? What roles are we looking for? Who can fill those roles? But I think generally speaking, Grant is going to be a 7-8 man rotation guy. This is what he's been. Not that that's the end all be all, but this is what most coaches are. Most coaches roll this way. It's very difficult to keep 9 to 10 to 11 kids happy with their role and how many minutes they get and how many shots they get and all this stuff. And there needs to be a pecking order. And so, and I think he was willing to say this year we felt like we had 9. That's where Cambridge was supposed to factor in. And I don't know what that would have looked like. I mean, I've even said that you may be here and having the kind of year you're having because he's no longer, because it would have been maybe difficult because that was the word on the street was Cambridge was very unhappy with how many minutes he was getting. And he just didn't like he's the same player that we saw prior to his injury a year ago. Just didn't look as athletic and just didn't have and again, which is understandable considering the issue that he had. So I don't, it sounds good in theory to say, hey, we got 10 dudes. And I do think you want to have some options. You want to have the developmental guys that you're kind of growing up in your program, the culture guys and whatnot. But I think they'll try to fill out their roster, and complete it with knowing that at the end of the day, I bet when the rubber meets the road, I bet we're going to end up with like 8 dudes that we really like that are going to play the bulk of these minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, think about if Christian Anderson's on your team next year. You want him only to play 25 minutes a night, or you want to play him?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, Chris. Like, do you really even need any more than what you're describing there? And just kind of as you were alluding to, for most head coaches, they get into that groove because there's a thought of like, man, you need 5 fresh guys, but there's one of these guys that was really, really good. And I don't care if he's fresh or not, I still want him out there. So as the game goes on, I think you kind of settle into that number.
Injuries,
been a little thin for my taste a few times this year, including most recently. But
and those are gonna injuries are gonna happen. Ejections are gonna happen. It's just and that's why like a guy like say like an EY or let's just use him as an example. I think he's a perfect end of the rotation guy. I don't know what EY ultimately wants out of his college basketball career or what he wants to do. If he's like, dude, it's not happening for me here. I really need to play. But if you can somehow keep him happy and like he's not going to cause any problems and he's just like going to keep working hard, he's a perfect guy to have the back end of the rotation because he's a culture guy and all that. You know what I mean? But not everybody wants to roll that way. And he may not either. I don't know. But, those are just interesting conversations and it's a case-by-case basis. But yeah, you need to think about what you need next year. You need some guard play, but you need shooting and scoring. You need rebounding. I mean, it's like you got a little bit of everything you're going to have to add back to this deal. And I don't know with your current guys that could come back, who's okay with it and who's not.
All right, thank you for that question. Wayne's just checking in for any Micah Hudson smoke signals. Puff, puff, baby. Anything to blow on?
No, I think that again that is more summertime or late spring. However, based on what I just told you 7 minutes and 32 seconds ago, I'm just guessing. I don't. You're still looking to add a receiver, and I just think there's a lot that needs to be done for Micah to re-enter the equation here. Like unless he's willing to. I don't want to say like walk on or something like that. It's not necessarily what I mean, but yeah, there's a lot that needs to happen. But I think you're kind of meanwhile you're pushing forward. You're still looking to add to that, and it's not necessarily him.
All right, good. I've got to just forget Micah Hudson because that timing was incredible. The sound that you may just have heard, we actually have a question about. It's more a request. This is from Lance. Chris, could I come show you how to turn off the Microsoft Exchange notification signal every time yours hits? I'm looking at my computer as I watch Locked On Texas Tech at work. for a new notification. I think I may be losing my mind. It hit there. I was going to save that for the end, but it hit there. I had to bump it up. He's going to miss notifications. Guys, we can't have Chris not missing work responsibilities. I mean, right? Do you even know that happens?
Yes, I do. It's emails. My apologies. I mean, like that's embarrassing.
That's why we don't say the word Alexa. We don't want to set anything off, but hey, work's happening as we're working here hard for you. On Locked On Texas Tech.
I would just say my apologies. Let me get that worked on. I apologize.
Assemble the IT team. Could you right now do that by yourself? Because I couldn't.
Yes, I know how to do it, but I'm often like there's I don't need to get into the minutia. That's an email alert. And certain times I need to, if I'm like out, whatever, I need to know, anyway, whatever. So
you need to be dinged. Some people need to be dinged.
Yeah, that's embarrassing that I just got called out on that. And I'm sorry. I did not mean for that to spill over. There happened again. Just happened again.
I won't even allow the apologies. Lance, you're just gonna have to deal with it. All right.
Yeah.
And maybe you are going crazy, whether or not notifications are going off or otherwise. Everything going all right at home, Lance? Before we get out of here, a couple more. Mark asks, he says, this is for Chris. Taking a trip to Kansas City, can you tell me where to have the best barbecue there?
Yes, Jack Stack downtown or Q39. If you want, if you want to, like Arthur Bryan, supposedly, I've dabbled a little bit. It's okay. It wasn't for me. So those would, but like Q39 is legit. Jack Stack is legit. Those places, like those are sit down. They're going to come wait on you, but it's good. It's good stuff. Like I would not steer you wrong. But you get a reservation, all the things. But no, those places are that they'll do you right, man. And it's as close to Texas barbecue as you're going to get, because some of the other stuff up there. It's like they don't cook the meat slowly. They just slather a bunch of vinegary sauce all over it. Tell you it's wonderful barbecue, it's Hey, this is a similar vein here from Hayden. What's your favorite barbecue food item? If so, do you cook it yourself or go somewhere to get it? I don't ever cook my own barbecue. I was just fortunate with the team last weekend, this most recently with the TCU trip, I guess it was. We ate at Heim Barbecue off of Magnolia. Phenomenal. I've had it Panther City and Fort Worth. I grew up on Angelo's and Railhead. Okay. Angelo's was still there. Then some folks there a long time ago kind of split, and then Railhead Barbecue. And it's not like all world. It's more, keep it moving. They never sell out. So, but the Heim and the Panther City are some of these newer places like that. They're legit. But Evie Mays is legit. But when they're done correctly, a rib guy or burn-in guy, but quality brisket guy. So all of it. I mean, we're
just going to wind up naming all the items.
Yes, exactly. They're all our favorite. But I wish I had time to it's been smoking on the green egg for 9 hours, and I kind of wrapped it in I just don't have time for all that life. I'm jealous of the people that do.
The Matador Mob's running him ragged. He can't barbecue, folks. Give him a break. Brisket, short ribs, back ribs, all the other stuff. Yep, all on the list for me. Yeah. All right, thank you for that question. Brett wants to know, he says he still wants to know, I guess he's asked this before, can I buy level a pair of AirPods for whatever the next holiday is? I think he's triggered by your cord or something. I don't know. Is the cord getting
I feel like I do have those. I just like this better.
Why are you guys wanting to change the way Level lives? Let him live his life,
man. I'm my AirPods or my cord here, and then my sound that the computer makes. I'm just like, I'm a problem. I apologize. I mean, I'm not trying to trigger anybody. I'm sorry.
Surprise, I'm actually texting all these questions in through a burner account. These are just things I've been wanting to bring up. I didn't have the guts. Rob asks an off-the-wall question. He says, what happened with the Air Raiders and the TBT? Any chance we get a team for next year? That went away for a year, right?
I think that ship has probably sailed. Yeah.
That ship is sailed, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. I don't know if that is got if the whole thing has got like any staying power, if it's funded well enough. I think there was a sweet spot there. I just don't know big picture, if that's gonna have much staying power. But I don't think the Texas Tech part of it, I don't think it will. Yeah, it was a fun little deal there, and it just then you hosted some games and you got blitzed.
That part of it wasn't fun. All right, this question from Logan: when will the Texas Tech pitching staff be held accountable? Logan, we're actually having a meeting this weekend. We're assembling with torches and pitchforks, a couple of real estate signs. So I hope you'll join us. That's all I can say about that. Anything to add, Chris? Well, I see you there.
Just
storming.
Ding. I'll just leave it be. Leave it be. Yeah.
All right.
I'll try to cover up my cord and just do this. Yeah.
Okay, for this last question, yes, please cover up your cord, silence your dings. This one from Ryan: do you see any chance I can invest into Tech Sports like a shareholder in the future? I'm asking so I can know if I need to sell my farm. Maybe you could be a shareholder somewhere down the road in a college sports department.
Well, I mean, in some ways, that's Cody Campbell, Dusty Womble, Mark McDougall, Tim Culp, Gary Peter. I mean, there's some of these folks that do in some weird way, maybe not on paper like legally, but in theory, they do have ownership over this athletic department. They help fund it and fund what is needed and wanted. And thankfully, all these individuals get along and are for the common cause. And I probably left some names out, but the Cashes, the Pickerings. I mean, you just mentioned some of the names I just heard with the donated to that new South End Zone. But and that's what I get real leery of about like private equity, is that it sounds good in theory and it could totally, but I mean, do you ever want to give up control of and like have to play by somebody else's rules? And it's like, well, this isn't what's best for the Double T or what we need right now. And I don't know if you'll ever have, but if you want to donate, and then you technically you get a little say so. If it's on a big scale, like some of the folks I just mentioned to you there.
Yeah, but your return comes on the scoreboard, I think. I don't know that they're issuing checks if the department does well, but you never know. Local economy, we can talk ourselves into feeling like we're doing some good, some local good.
But some of those people with so much money, it's about the emotion. This is something you can't go purchase.
No, they're too wealthy to feel. They want to feel again.
Well, you know what I'm saying?
Chasing the rush.
I mean, you and we're all looking for that, like that, when you beat Houston on a Saturday, and it's just like this miracle. Like, whoa, how do you describe how you felt? Yeah, that's right. And like, and then it wears off, and you're like, okay, I need it again. And
exactly, you're chasing that rush.
Yes,
that's right. It reminds me of something else, but it escapes me what I'm thinking of. Chris, appreciate a little bonus time today. By the way, Ryan, Sorry?
It's that dance you can't pronounce that you're going to
do. Ryan, don't sell the farm. I was told just this week, land's made to be bought, not sold. So just keep that in mind. Chris, appreciate the extra time, man. Enjoyed it all week long. We got a wild weekend coming up. So some hopes as we'll send you off to Lawrence, Kansas, and we'll get back together on the other side, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. And RIP to Gene Hackman. Don't get caught watching the paint dry.
Absolutely. The legendary Gene Hackman. Shout out to Little Bill and all the rest. All right, man. Appreciate the Matador Mobsters for being out there. Thank you all so much for joining us for this OT edition. And we'll see you on the other side for the next one.